Hello, Assalamu alaikum to all the chai lovers and biscuit fans. I'm your host, Anzar Anwar, and welcome to the Chai and Biscuit podcast. Before we get into the bigger things around the world, I wanted to start small. I wanted to understand my community. I wanted to start with someone that I feel really comfortable with, someone I have known for a while, someone I've been friends with over 11 years. He is someone I admire. He is someone who is a leader. He is someone who is a CEO. He has understand hard times. He has understand communications. He has started a company through those struggles, through those communications. Eastern Restoration. He is someone who has great energy. He can walk into any room and just be happy. He does not need anyone around him. He just needs himself, and he can be the happiest man alive. I want to introduce my best friend, Dylan Castillo.
Hey, clap, 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 clap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, couldn't ask
Welcome
for
to the podcast.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having me. That was a pretty impressive introduction there. You glazing me. But, same said to you, he's a brother, love him very much. Same thing to him could say. Same thing he said to me could be said back to him. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. Being the first person you get to interview. It's pretty tough. It's cool, but challenging. You got to keep it exciting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm nervous. I know I am, which is okay. This is but I wanted to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a while just because I feel like it's time that, in a way we should speak. We already speak to each other, but I think this is a way for me to let other people see what we do or how we talk, how we communicate, because I think we come from different backgrounds, two different backgrounds. You come from a Latino background. You grew up, Mexico. Then you grew up here. And I'm someone who was born and raised in Pakistan for like 10 years of my life. And then I moved here. So we have different perspectives on things, but yet we somehow have survived the past 11 years on the most hard challenges things we have. We have struggled. We have fought, but, over time we have communicated and loved each other, and we're still here. So that's why I wanted to get into this things. Because I feel like we need to understand each other better. And then I think we have a great understanding of each other over time now, just because we talk about our struggles. We talk about our challenges. We talk about our goals. We talk about pretty much everything, and we hold each other accountable. So that's why I think we have such a great relationship and communications, just because we talk about these things, even though they're hard and difficult. But that's the best part. They're hard and difficult, and so it's easier for us to talk. So I want to get into this thing where I wanted you to talk about the times where you felt like you and me
struggled a little bit. Yeah, but like you're saying about the struggle part, it's like, or the communication. Yeah, I mean that's so important, and this is basically what your podcast is about. There's so many problems in the world around, and it just really just takes two people to sit down and just really put our egos aside and communicate. And I think your podcast is a great thing. You're sitting with people and you're like, you know what, let's talk about the meat and greedy. Let's put our egos aside and let's communicate. Let's see our point of views, say either we agree with don't. And the thing that I feel like me and you have understood is that we don't always have to agree with each other. We just have to understand each other. And with that, with your question that you asked, is there any struggles that we've had? I would say maybe there's been few, but it's never been like anything major, and it's just been about miscommunication. And I feel like you and me have always just talked. It was like, well, this is how I feel. And then you're like, well, this is how I feel. We're like, okay, well, we thought about the same outcome, but our route was very different. Like how you go to a road and there's four ways. It's a 4-way fork. You can go left, right, middle left, middle right. There's many ways, but the same destination. And he thinks a different way. I think a different way, and like not everyone's perfect. So yeah, there's struggles with our communication, but we just are. We're very lucky that we just sit down, we put our egos aside, and we're just like, well, this is what I thought, which is not what I meant. And you're like, well, like it felt like that, and we're like, all right, and then whatever we talk about, we figure it out, and then we just move on. We don't linger because we're like, we give each other the benefit, the thought, be like, well, all right, like he did it this time. He said he's not going to stop. Like I believe his word, what he says, I believe, because that's what he's proven. So sometimes we just say what bothers us a couple of times, and then be like, all right, bro, like you need to stop right now, like, or this is getting a little out of hand. And then we understand each other and we listen to each other.
And sometimes those are difficult conversations where it takes us a couple of days even, to talk about it, but we talk about it. That's the most important part, that we do talk about it.
We make the effort.
Absolutely.
We're not just friends for, this long time. There's effort. Like, you want to have peace. You want to talk with someone. There's, and this is with anybody, with any situation, you have a conversation with your girlfriend or your mom or your parent and you guys are struggling, just sit down and talk. I promise you it can get better. Just the communication. You guys need to talk out. So it is.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little about your background. I know I introduced you a little bit of having, a Latino background and growing up in a bit of Mexico.
Latino America, Mexicanos, vamos.
So I want to talk about that. How, tell us about about yourself.
I'm Mexican 100%, Maybe a shocker to somebody. Maybe. You never know. Can't make you guys think what I think. But throughout my life, a lot of people have been like, what? You're Mexican? I'm tall. I'm 6'5". I'm a little lighter than your average Mexican looking. So it's funny. But yeah, I'm Mexican. I moved here when I was 7. It's been great. I lived here in King of Prussia until came here. I was actually in the 2nd grade in Mexico, but when I moved here, they put me in kindergarten because I didn't know any English. But it was the same age and the same grade that everybody was at, so it didn't bother me. But was here until 5th grade, and then I moved to Phoenixville. Yeah, it was Phoenixville. And from Phoenixville, I went back to Mexico. Stayed there for a year, learned how to write and read. And then after that, after a year, moved to Florida. And from Florida, I stayed there 6 months. And then from Florida, I went up to Malvern, PA, which isn't too far from where we're at. And then moved finally back to King of Prussia. And just been here since. Yeah, that's kind of my bring up.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about you moving.
Mm.
Now, you said from Mexico, you moved to Florida at one point, you were in PA at one point. There was a lot of back and forth. Over time, I think even not just even having a different background, but different environment and different location that you've been going through does happen to have an effect on your perspective. Just because, that's even the tiniest thing does that.
Oh.
So I think even that, mentioning that even kind of separated us even more to show us how close we are. Even
exactly.
Yeah.
It's, how they say, like every first day, whenever it was first day for school, first day for high school, first day for middle school, like I never really got nervous because I moved so many times, had to meet so many people. And like he said, like we're close, we've been close for so long, and like growing up, I kind of made a self mechanism of like I wouldn't have to get close to people too much because I would know I'd have to leave. So I never really got close. Well, I had friends, but never got too close. Like I never went to their house. It was always just a school thing. But yeah, I mean, that kind of a thing that I learned. That was a struggle that you kind of have to learn because you're like, well, if I get close to these people in 6 months, I'm gonna have to get close to other people.
Yeah, no, I remember your first day, like 8th grade. I did not like you at the beginning, and I know we both knew we did not like each other just because well, everyone knew you, and I was like, who is this kid? Because I just moved
Yeah,
to a
everyone's
whole new
like,
state, and I was like, who is this
Dylan,
kid?
Dylan. I was like, yo, people know me.
And then I think over time, like one thing we had common was soccer. We played soccer.
Yeah, we did.
And then over time, I think that kind of like helped us, have our bond together.
Yeah.
That kind of was the middle glue or, middle ground where we just came, no matter where we were. Like I said, even 8th grade, we were not friends, but we played together as
we knew
teammates.
each other.
So
this man was ankle killer, man. This man would stab your feet with his feet. Crazy. But we want him in your team so we wouldn't hurt you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But, I think over time, I have done better now. Stop.
Yeah, no, he's different, I guess.
But like I said, it's growing. So since 8th grade to now, how do you think our relationships over time, our friendship has evolved?
Oh my God. I mean, it went from not knowing each other and just kind of seeing each other in the soccer field to becoming friends. And then, you being there for my girlfriend and then going to prom and you going your prom and then first day of college. Like, it's been crazy, like we had our party times and stuff like that. And then now, like, it's only gotten stronger over time. It's just been getting closer and closer, like, your dad's like my uncle, he's uncle,
Yeah, no, that's funny how like at one point, like I had for like the 5 years that I was here, like I think from middle school to even high school, I never had, anyone over until like all of a sudden now, like I can't get rid of anybody. It's like every day we are here, which is great, which is awesome. But there's like times where we're like, damn. Like, we are here, like, sometimes twice a day. There's been times where we're here twice a day, but that's great. That's why we can be together, yet, be at 2 different places and still not having issues and be at the same place for all day and still not having issues.
Exactly.
That's how I think over time we have grown this friendship, not just through just having different perspective on life, but struggles too. And I think we understood that we have some sort of same struggles we can talk about and, grow our bond together.
Exactly. Like there's a quote. It's like, if you can be in the same room with another person and be quiet and just chill, like that's perfect. Cause when people you're not comfortable, you just like, it's awkward. You're like, all right, like I'm trying to go. Like we just be chilling, not saying shit on our phone and just chilling, like comfortable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like kids, like that's the perfect way to describe it. We can
be kids. We can be ourselves, like
yes.
inner childhood, like no judgment. We clown each other, but in the end of the day, like we care for each other, who we are, and we know exactly all the bads, goods, and like it's like you can be yourself, and like there's no judgment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Speaking of judgment, now you mentioned it, like that's I think that's what also helps us to be more close to each other because we can talk about anything.
We hold each other accountable.
Yeah, because we know that anything we are saying, it's not being judged by the other person because they will understand it. They will question it, but they will understand it. They're not judging me. So to get into that more, I wanted to talk about some of the things that over time where you think that you had issues talking about to us, where you thought we might judge you if you were to say something to us, you thought you were going through, and you thought we will judge you, but it turns out, it was completely different.
I mean, there's a bunch of times, but ones that are grateful, everyone has bad times. And, there's times like I used to live alone when I was like 19 and, working, going to school, like money was tight. And sometimes like I would fall behind, you study in your school and then you can't work as much, you can't Uber and stuff like that, so you fall behind. And like, this is where we talk about, like, we can talk about anything. We put our pride aside, like I would call myself very prideful, and now as I grow, like I was very prideful when I was younger. I mean, you grow, you start to understand that like it's okay to get help. You can't do things by yourself, but you can't if you want to build. Putting my pride aside and be like, yo guys, like, I kind of can't spend on this, or, can you guys help me out with this because I'm like I can't pay for this or that. You know, it was like, instead of them being like, well, why are you not working harder? Why can you do this? They were like very open and be like, oh shit, bro. Like, of course, let me give you what I can. Let me ask everyone. And then, like, they made it a safe space for me to feel comfortable, especially because my mom, the only person who was around when I was older was my mom. My sister left when I was like 14 to Mexico. My brother left when I was like 17 or 16 to Mexico. My dad left when I was 14. So it was just me, my mom, and my stepdad when I was 18. So like, and then they left Michigan. And so like, I kind of built a little bit of a family, and that's how we came closer in a way, you know? So yeah, that was a really big one.
Yeah, that I think that's like something a lot of people can I think relate to when you're put in those situations. You have to also be more mature to make those decisions and understand those things as well, what you're going through. And sometimes you go through things in life that will only teaches you things and brings you more closer than before.
Exactly.
So I think that's always a blessing. And I think that's what we have gone through, where we have talked about these things and we have connected on some things. And that's how we, just bonded. Mm-hmm. And it's all, comes back to just having that communication and understanding.
Just no judgment. I feel like that's the most important thing. Like, because you can talk. Here's the thing. Like, you can talk, but the thing is, like, we listen. And it's a big saying that we say. It's like, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Like, use the ears before the mouth.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference that we have over time have realized that we need to listen, and we have act on that, and then that's what we have done. That sometimes it's okay to just be quiet sometimes and listen, because that's all you need. I think I just want to, this is what it's like all about. This podcast is about talking about different things, which is like all that to understanding, which is all, that's to communication. Just so sometimes it's not about
you learn from talking. Each other.
It's just sometimes it's just about listening. Mm-hmm. And I think the world is a crazy place that it is right now. But we just have to listen. And I think that's how we have done. It's such a great way to do it. It's just we created a safe space for us where we just listen to each other and understand each other. So this is where I want to talk. You can talk, give you a chance to answer me or question me, to anything. Over time, we have problems where you thought you were trying to say something to me and I never understood. And you were, having a hard time telling me because you thought I will take the wrong way.
I mean, I guess the most recent time was, so we were at Penn State. Go a little deep. So we were at Penn State, and he was sleeping in a friend's house, and me and my other friend, I can't say his name out because I don't know who's going to be here. But just an argument. We had his stuff in our car, and he wanted it back where he was sleeping at. But miscommunication, and the end of the day was miscommunication. But like, I was telling him something, he was telling me something, and then it should have went to the person, our friend, directly, but it was all miscommunication, and we got in an argument and blah blah blah. Like, he was being a little sassy and stuff like that, which is rightfully so. He fell asleep with none of his belongings, but it's really just communication. And I was just trying to tell him, like, oh well, I'm doing this, or we're here, and like blah blah blah. Like, I can't do nothing. I don't got the car keys. He was just like upset about his belongings, so like that was kind of shielding him.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. It was just a little bit of a misunderstanding and miscommunication, but in the end of the day, like I said, we talked about it.
It's in the past.
Care of it. It's in the past. We learned from it and we moved on. So that's all it's about. Like, just learning and, moving on, because you cannot just stand at one place. You won't never learn.
If say this communication can't happen, and then it kept happening and happening and happening again and again, like, we're not learning.
Absolutely. no, and that I feel like we have a lot more to talk about. I definitely think we do. Like you mentioned your struggles. I think that's something we can all relate to in a somewhat way, and I can relate to with my struggles, and someone else can relate to. I think we, as especially when if you're from a different country, we have those similarities on certain things that we understand and we see things a little differently.
Especially, I would say, on that aspect, sorry for cutting you off, but especially like if you're a foreign family and you move to America, you know, to all my immigrants people, you know, like you guys maybe might relate or probably will relate. Like when you're from another country, um, not third world country, but not as great as America. Like everyone wants a lot of people want to come to America for the American dream. You know, if you're an immigrant family, you come here to have a better life. You know, and I feel like as immigrants or, you know, he's all the way from Pakistan. I'm from Mexico. Like other friends from Libya, another one's from Italy. We all relate when we come to America is to have a better life. You know, you come to America for a better life. So we're always kind of grinding. We're always trying to look up. We're always looking to get better and achieve more because we come to America to achieve more. And I feel like that's another thing that ties us together and what keeps us accountable and why we're able to talk so freely to each other because we want to improve. And I feel like that's why we also collide and like struggle together or might not understand each other because we're trying to all go up and level up. And sometimes when we think a certain way, and you think in a certain way, we struggle and we struggle with each other, but we'll communicate and we're able to tell each other how to improve and we just improve, you know?
Yeah, no, I think yeah, that's a great example. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have, especially now. I think that we have that just because we are in I say the prime times, as they say it, where we are thriving and trying to achieve our goals because this is it. You know, this is our
You know,
time to do it.
grind season happened and
Yeah,
now it's showing a little flowers, a little blooming.
absolutely. So I think that's always something that we have in common and we keep that every day. Like even from working out, I think, or even just trying to do as, you know, just going out for a walk. We hold each other accountable for even the tiniest thing. Hey, like, did you do this today? Oh, why didn't you? Like, what were you doing?
Why are you drinking that? Why are you eating that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just ate so much this yesterday.
Yeah, and at some time it's like, why is he nagging? But it's like he's right. He's looking out for me.
We're looking out for each other. We want the best for each other. So like, even though like, you know, you're like, I can do this. It's alright. Like we're looking at each other like, bro, I know where you're trying to go, and I'm gonna help you go there. And I don't care if you hate me.
Yeah, and like I said, just at the end of the day, it's all about just you know understanding without any judgment and just open communication. I think that's the just way to go. And as long as you have that, I think anyone and anything can be solved, and anyone can have a great relationship. Yeah. Anyone can just go through anything in life, pretty much. I think just by having a great communication,
put your ego aside,
exactly, and be successful in life. I think that's just a great way to do it. And before we go here, after a great conversation, I want to give you a time to point out a time in your life where you were struggling to understand something. You went through it by yourself, and then you came out and you were a different perspective, and you understood the struggle you went through.
Great question. I have an even better answer to that. So I had a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I had a business called Appalachian Texting. You know, first company that was I bought. So you know, calling people, scheduling, like it was a lot, which I could have done a lot better. So like sales went down just because of the marketing and I didn't understand that as well. But our work was excellent. Things happened, blah, blah, blah. We got to start another business called Eastern Restoration. And I was able to learn all the faults, you know, answer the people faster, make sure when they give you an estimate, go out there sooner to get it so you can get it. when you do the proposal, try to send it 1 or 2 days after you went and seen the property. Text people, update people, send emails updating the schedule when it rains, when it doesn't rain. Things kind of what you learn when you have a company, but if you don't learn from them, you can't get better. But I was able to get a partner with a business partner, which eases the load a lot better. And he's great with that as well. You know, I'm able to relax a little more and focus on a certain aspect of the company while he's handling the other aspect, which is a lot better because instead of just one person focusing on getting a certain part of getting better, we have two people focusing on one side and he's on the other side. And we focus real well and try to do our best. So the end product is a lot better than kind of just putting all your efforts in a lot of places.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people these days want to start something of their own, and they do go through struggles. And I think sometimes it's okay to take someone else's advice because, you know, sometimes I feel like I myself, like if I'm having an issue or if I need some advice, I'll go to someone that's already kind of have gone through the struggle. So it just eases it. I know it won't like somehow will take care of the struggle. I still have to go through it, but it's like, okay, I know when to step and when not to step on. Yeah. So I think that's kind of, thank you for sharing it. So that's awesome. I know you will be here more in the podcast because I think we have a lot more to talk about.
A lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I can talk for hours.
Yeah, no, I want to get into how the struggles of business. I know it's not just that easy, but I want to talk about that. So absolutely love to have you more.
Of course.
And I just want to say thank you again for being the first person on my podcast, which is it took a time, but we are finally here.
Bro, it's gonna get better, and I can't wait, and I'm here for it, and it's gonna be sick. I'm excited, and I'm gonna be here every time. He's gonna let me know and stay updated. And it's gonna be real cool. I can't wait for it to get big, you know. And I can get my share fair too.
Absolutely.
He goes up, we all go up, baby.
Absolutely. So thank you to all the Chai lovers and biscuit fans.
You hear that crack?
See you guys next time. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Salam.